The year was 1982 when rock and roll ruled the charts. All the bands had long hair, loud guitars, and hard partying lifestyles. Lots of experimental and innovative music came out, and each of the titans of the rock genre, while having loud anthems, would have what would be known as power ballads in their musical catalog. And one particular band formed in London, England, would have a song that would become a monster hit in 1982. That track I dedicate to this League's Cup preview show and would be a song off this band's 1982 album, Saints and Sinners, the band Whitesnake, the song Here I Go Again. And yes, defenders, here we go again on our own, potting down the only road we've ever known. Like drifters, we were born to StreamYard alone, but we've made up our mind. We ain't wasting no more time. So here we pod again, previewing Vancouver again. But before we do, it's important to note, I am not David Coverdale. My co-host is not Bernie Martson. And who the hell are these guys? Well, the members of Whitesnake that wrote the song Here I Go Again. But we are the defenders of the bank. And yes, this is one more sleep because who needs a getting to know Vancouver pod? Because we potted 8 times about these guys in the last years, give or take. And with that being said, my name is Christian Phileman, the platinum-haired flamingo, also known as Philly, and joining me after what appears to be a successful defeat of the vicious vid, La Bufanda himself, J.R. Liebert.
The Scarf. And yes, welcome to our 1 hour long Getting to Know Vancouver preview episode. Thank you all for sticking around. We are going to do an in-depth 27-man up and down the roster breakdown of everybody on Vancouver, including several players that they may call up from Whitecaps 2 who may make an appearance inside the stadium for the day. So strap in, everybody. We've got an hour episode of nothing but Vancouver talk. This is going to... Oh my God, that would be my worst nightmare. Oh my God, that would be just
if you were going to do that, I would literally just pin Hello Kitty to my chair and speak in that United Doubtfire voice off screen the entire time.
Yeah, man, I'm working my way back from COVID, testing negative finally, which is great. Got a little bit of a cough, but other than that, I am relatively symptom free, which is good. I'll take it. Unfortunately, though, we still have to play Vancouver tomorrow. We've played them, it seems like, every third or fourth week for the last 2 years. But luckily, much of that has been in dominating fashion. And Philly, unfortunately, the biggest story going into this match has nothing to do with LAFC. It is all Vancouver, and it is the knee injury to Ryan Gauld, which absolutely decimates this team.
Decimates it indeed. He's such an integral piece of that club. I mean, so much of the offense flows through him. And he sustained a knee injury. I mean, he played in the game against Houston on the 20th, but he was slotted to be in the All-Star game. That knee obviously was bothering him pretty bad. And from what we've heard and what on the press conference and what we've been told, yeah, no Ryan Gauld. So he's actually a very fun player to watch. He is one of the main catalysts that makes Vancouver exciting, him along with Brian White as well. It'll be sad to not see him there. And at the same time, we also have a midfielder of our own who's not going to be in the game. As per LAFC's media guide that was put out today, out once again will be Timothy Tillman. So we will be without Timmy Tills once again, but we've got everybody else. And for those asking about Giroux, there is a press conference. A PR report came out, applied the other day for it. I believe Scarf probably did too. He'll be at the Intercontinental Hotel giving a press conference on Thursday at 3 p.m., which we hope to both get to, unless Soccer in 60 demands that I stay on the show. But we won't be seeing Olivier against Vancouver, and that's probably in our best interest, because after we beat Vancouver, we're going to have a nice bit of time away, and it's all going to be a matter of, will it be Pumas, Monterrey, or Austin in the next round? And by the way, congratulations on Austin for beating Pumas 3-2. Hell of a game.
Yeah, no, look, I think no reason to rush Timothy Tillman back with a commanding performance against Xolos that we had. We really probably only need a draw in this match against a very shorthanded Vancouver club to move on in the League's Cup anyway. Neither you or I have a feeling, will be predicting a draw in this match. I'll say this, Ruben, they asked me who I would like. I would take any of the three teams because I believe this club is going to go through whoever they need to go through to get to the finals of League's Cup. I'll say this. I would much rather face Pumas or Austin than Monterrey.
Nope.
But I'm telling you right now, bring them all on for all I care. Let's knock off Monterrey early and get this over with.
I don't care for another repeat game against Austin. Pumas would be interesting because we haven't played them ever in club history, but still got a bit of a chip on my shoulder from that Rose Bowl game against Monterrey from last season. A game that we really should have won, but hand-wrapped and hand-delivered to them after being up 2-0 at the half. That was one of the worst losses of last season. And it's funny, after Monterrey scored the first goal in that game, you could just feel the onslaught coming. To think that we would lose in that fashion, no me gusta. So I would prefer to get the revenge against Monterrey, but it is fun to also put in work with new clubs anyway. The getting to know you shows, I enjoy doing them. Scarf enjoys doing them, and we have yet to do one for Pumas.
Look, there's also that revenge factor. I mean, I guess Austin, it could be a revenge game because blame Scarf. I was there for the 1-1 draw that stopped the win streak that we had. Otherwise, the win streak would have been at like 13. So maybe we get Austin. Philly, speaking of things on your shoulder or at least near them, I like that kit that you are wearing. You and I were talking off air before we went on about Romania in the Olympics. David Popovic with the gold medal in the 200, which was a 100, 200?
200.
Either way, 200, right? Yeah. Really cool to see. You and I were talking a little bit. You've got your Romanian kit on. I've got my Kick Childhood Cancer kit on. We unknowingly went with a yellow theme for this episode, oddly enough. But Philly, look, let's get right into Vancouver. We did everything that we needed to do against Tijuana. So let's talk about players to watch. And first and foremost, I'm going way off the board. That's okay. No, that's okay. I'm going way off the board. This guy, I think, has only played 1 or 2 minutes, total minutes, in their last several matches. Damir Kreilach. But here's what we do know about Damir Kreilach. When it comes to performing against LAFC, he usually steps up. And you know Vancouver is going to come in with this next man up mentality with the loss of Ryan Gauld. Now, Ryan Gauld is not a straight line goal scorer. He's a talisman. He's a creator. Damir Kreilach is not that. Damir Kreilach is your straight number 9. But at this point in his career, he's much more of a backup number 9. And they already do have Brian White. I'm assuming Philly's going to talk about Brian White, but we'll see in a second. I actually don't know who his players to watch are. But I think when you need a moment of brilliance from a veteran goal scorer, the one guy, as I look up and down that roster, who I would fear the most, and fear is in air quotes because I don't fear Damir Kreilach as much anymore, but the one guy I would fear coming off of that bench, let's say 80th minute, it's 2-1 or something, and we're up. When you need somebody to try and steal one later, I get all the guys who have been doing it for Vancouver. Kickball Pod talks about Fafa Picault. There are several other guys out there that I know have been doing it. But this is why I like to have fun with the players to watch, because Damir Kreilach is not a first 11 selection anymore for Vancouver. They let him go at RSL, so clearly they know there's not a lot of tire left on the tread. However, again, he's that veteran striker. He's that guy that I'd have to watch if I was LAFC. And if I need to sell you at this point in the season on why I am picking Mateusz Bogusz as my player to watch, you clearly have not been watching the players in black and gold this season. Get used to Matty Bogusz as long as we have him as being one of the most dynamic creators on the pitch in Major League Soccer. I don't know how much longer we'll have him. That transfer window is wide open right now, but Matty Bogusz is a player to watch every single week.
He's becoming a highlight reel, to put it
bluntly.
Damir Kreilach. God, I remember having a podcast title for Kreilaching Out Loud. I think that was our RSL playoff show back in 2019, was it? No, it would have been 2018.
No, 18.
18, yeah, wow.
18.
Yeah, 2018 when we lost in the first, oh my God. I've gotten to the point where I've probably forgotten more games than a lot of people have gone to, which is kind of wild if you think about it. And it hasn't even been that
Well,
long.
you're old, so.
Yeah, you're a jerk. All right, so my players to watch. Yeah, Scarf's no doubt. He predicted who I was going to choose. Ryan Gold would have always been my player to choose. Between his 9 goals and between his 9 assists, he's number 2 in the club with the goals, number 1 in assists, but he obviously won't be there. Brian White is just such an exciting player. He's got himself 12 goals over the course of 23 matches, and all the offense is going to be dictated by him and his pace. Ryan Gold makes things happen, but Brian White's the guy who scores goals. If you go back and you watch highlights, and this was such a beautiful highlight, the guy plays until the very end. The game that they had against the Galaxy, it was the 3rd match up of within Leagues Cup. That was such a crazy game in which Ricky Pooch scored early on in the game. And then Vancouver fought their way valiantly back in the game. There was an own goal that created the equalizer. And if you remember, Brian White scored in the 90th plus first minute. That guy goes until his legs fall off. He goes until the final whistle. And he scores goals more often than not. At this rate, he's got a goal every other game playing for Vancouver during the regular season. If they're going to look to be any kind of a threat, it's going to be through him. And without Ryan Gold, there's going to be more of the offensive burden shouldered by Brian White. No doubt about that. As far as LAFC players to watch, Kike Oliveira. He's been fantastic. He's been fantastic all season. And yes, I too, along with many of the millions.
And millions.
Just making sure you were paying attention, Scarf. I didn't want to say I wrote him off, but it was kind of like, oh, here we go again. Another Uruguayan winger who can't seem to find the back of the net. But he's obviously shut my pie hole up, and a lot of others in the LAFC community as well. And he's doing so well. I had a good run of form, got great valuable experience playing in Copa America under one of the greatest coaches in the game in Marcelo Bielsa. Obviously, he came right into LAFC after Copa America, just hitting the ground running, on fire, had 2 fantastic games, and I don't see why he couldn't continue on with that trend.
Yeah, look, Philly, by the way, I looked it up in the Wayback Machine. We thought it was the playoff episode because that's where Damir Kreilach scored the game winner. September 10th, 2020, episode 116 for Kreilaching Out Loud 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, look, Kike Oliveira post Copa America, as good as it gets, right? I mean, come on.
The best he's ever been.
Yeah, he's a different
type of player. How did he only score the other goal? That one that he just missed the other day.
Oh, I know. And I think, though, he now has he's always had the confidence, but there's a difference between having the confidence and knowing that you have the ability to execute and act on that confidence. Brian Rodriguez versus Kike Oliveira. Brian always had the confidence. Kike has the, or at least in MLS, has had the ability to back it up. So love Kike Oliveira. Matty Bogusz, Kike Oliveira, Philly. Could you have ever dreamed after the last couple of seasons with the likes of the talent that we had, that those would be our 2 biggest stories of the season for sure? It's been great. We've played these guys into excellent, excellent form. I just fear that we're going to be losing them sooner rather than later. All right, look. Keys to the match is one simple key to the match. Run this team out of Los Angeles. Play our game. We got behind Xolos, not in the score, but I mean literally behind, and caused them to chase, caused them to get wide open. And in the few opportunities that we created for ourselves, we were absolutely surgical. I think this is going to be more of a death by either paper cuts or the paper truck falling on you. Either one, it doesn't matter. I think there are going to be opportunities after opportunities against this Vancouver club. I expect them to sit back in a low block, look at something like a 4-4-2. It would not surprise me if we have to figure out a way to get one past them. But once we do, the floodgates open. Run this team out of LA. Against Xolos, all we did was let them have the ball for the majority of the match. I predict things will be a little different here. Both Danny Sartini's comments leading up to this match and from what I've heard from Steve Cherundolo leading up to this match, it just seems like Vancouver might be the one content to sit back. And if that's the case, let's bring our shooting boots and run these boys out of Los Angeles.
Oh, Vanny Sartini. What a
love that guy.
What a memeable character he is, just to put it to put it nicely. I like me some Vanni Sartini. And the fun thing about Leagues Cup is we actually get to be in the room with him asking questions. Even in a ugly defeat, he still has a pretty fun and humorous demeanor about him. I like Sartini. Anyway, for me, it's simple. Don't overlook or underestimate your opponent. I see it in the chat, Vancouver again. And yes, I quoted a song by Whitesnake that's older than most of you listening to this podcast right now. I'm not necessarily thrilled that we're playing Vancouver again because it's not that they're not a great team. They are a great team, and they've had some success against us. Remember, they beat us 3-2 at BMO last year. This is a team that's got the quality. I don't know how much of it will be there without Ryan Gold, but we can't overlook or underestimate this team because the minute we do in the stands and they do on the pitch, that's when we're going to get smacked and surprised. So we all need to go in there giving the team that playoff atmosphere, going all the way from the north end to the south end to the Founders and the Field Club, the Figueroa and the sections up above. We all need to come into this game with that same mindset that this is something that matters. The worst thing that could happen would be for us to completely overlook Vancouver and to lose at home in a knockout in a group stage of a tournament. Keep in mind, the reason why the Leagues Cup is important is because your first and second place team get that CONCACAF Champions Cup berth along with the third place team. And it would be pretty nice to make it a little further along in the quarterfinals. We're done after tomorrow. Then it's up to Vancouver and Xolos to finish the story, as Cody Rhodes would say. But in order to finish the story, we need to not overlook the opponent tomorrow.
Yeah, Philly. Look, there is no doubt in my mind. Thank you for the build up. There is no doubt in my mind that go back. It's fine. No doubt in my mind that this is one of those matches where LAFC comes out on the front foot and play. Go back to the score. I really do believe the score du jour for us against this club recently has been 3-0. There it is. The score du jour has been 3-0. We beat them both times in the CONCACAF Champions League last year by that same score, and I absolutely see it happening again. We got to watch out because there was a guy with Vancouver in 2018 who, unfortunately, he was injured and suspended with a red card, who's now with us. We got one of theirs. That would be Kai Kamara, who scored, 17 goals and had 5 assists for Vancouver in 2018, our maiden voyage. We didn't have to go up against Kai Kamara because he was hurt and then suspended. I think Kai Kamara sees his old uniform out there and gets a little nostalgic back to his old goal-scoring ways. And I think Kai Kamara puts one into the back of the net in this one. And I've been calling it every now and then for a match here and there. It just hasn't happened. But I think this is the match where we are going to get a goal scored from a non-goal scorer. Whether that's an Ilie Sanchez or an Edward Atuesta or maybe a Ryan Hollingshead gets back out there and starts scoring for us again. He's had a relatively quiet offensive season for us this year. Or maybe it's Murillo getting on the end of one of those corner kicks. Someone who's not a primary goal scorer is going to get one in this match. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think Kai Kamara for sure. And you know what? Why not? Let's give another one to Denis.
I like it. All right. I'll see your not a normal goal scorer and incorporate that within my prediction.
All right.
I'd actually selected 3-0 in my head, but apparently my fingers said 2. So I'm going to go with the Freudian slip. LAFC wins 2-0. Denis Bouanga scores 1 because Denis Bouanga, that's just what he does. He scores goals. And for the player that doesn't often score or ever score at all, the player that I'm predicting that will score, and our buddy Chris Lafferty would be thrilled about this, Maxime Chanot. Let's have Maxime Chanot score for LAFC. Why the hell not? Let's live on the edge a little. That will make the game fun.
Love that. His first goal in black and gold, Maxime Chanot. That would be a lot of fun, man. Look, I think that's what this game is going to be all about. I think this is going to be one. Vancouver is going to play for a draw. I'm saying it right now. They are
taking money from a baby.
Genuine Cougar. That's fantastic. He says, I feel guilty betting on Murillo picking up a yellow card, but it keeps paying off. That's all right. Put your money on Atuesta and Murillo every game, and you'll be making at least one of the two right. Either way, Philly, I think this will be a lot of fun. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how Steve Cherundolo breaks down what I predict will be a low block. from Vancouver. I think they'll drop into a 4-4-2, if not even maybe like a 4-5-1, something real heavy on the defense. I think it's going to be interesting to see how we do that. But again, once we do, and I believe we will, then they have to play a more open style. And without Ryan Gauld, that is all she wrote. Once they open up, we'll be fine. I am predicting at least 2-0 by the half and 3-0 overall. Philly's got 2-0 in his hands, apparently, 3-0 in his head and heart, but we'll see which one of us are right.
Yeah, I would agree. And on that note, I've got nothing more to say about the Vancouver Whitecaps. Do you have anything more to say about the Vancouver Whitecaps?
The only thing I have to say is that I'm excited to be.
More to say about the Vancouver Whitecaps?
You can't ask me and then ask Hello Kitty. You have to wait
but
until
I can. I can. I mean, you are the third member of Defenders of the Bank, Scarf. Sorry, Mr. Scarf, you've been usurped yet again.
I'm finally feeling well enough and testing COVID negative for the last couple days, so I will be at the match, which is very exciting.
Blood pressure after that one.
Oh, it's great. No, it's look, it's going to be fun being out there and being both symptom free and healthy. Actually, not just symptom free. So look, it'll be good seeing everybody out there. I'm back, so it's exciting. After this, I'm going straight to bed. But either way, Philly. Let's play the cool outro music.
Outro music. Oh, that's intro music. Outro yourself.